gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
And welcome back to the Early Bird Special, Hour 2. I'm Chris Burdick, that's Sparky, and our boy Chris Flail is back in the building.
Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely.
Great to be here.
And honestly, I'll let you know this right now. A lot of the listeners loved you last time.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I appreciate that, listeners.
Just one didn't like you.
Just one didn't like you. Yeah.
And that was me. That was
very
myself.
vociferously said, who the hell is this guy?
I got to tell you, this is the best show I do. Normally I'm on, podcasts where me and other comedians whine about audiences,
right?
Callbacks, and I get to talk about basketball and wrestling. This is my dream.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what we've been saying too.
We had Anthony on yesterday, and he was talking about how he bombed earlier this week. And so we asked him, like, what was the joke? And of course, it was a foot fetish joke. I'm like, of course that's going to bomb.
That's probably the most family-friendly joke he
Right?
has, too.
No, but before we get into sports, I was going to ask you, because I like to hear from comedians on the stage of bombing.
Oh, yeah.
And is it, I'm sure you've done it a few times. How do you bounce off that? If obviously comedians will do like the open mics or just go in and test out some new stuff before, a big show.
It's funny. We all have dozens to hundreds of stories. So I'm a big Hunter S. Thompson fan. I used to have a podcast called The Bomb Diaries where I would have a comedian on,
awesome.
and we would just talk about the worst or craziest things
Jokes that they have
that happen. And that is the thing is, the longer you do it and the better you get, the less it happens, but it is always right around the corner. Like I can't tell you how many shows that I've been on, especially when we were, shows at the Well or even shows at Tembler, we're backstage and we're having the time of usually the best show is happening in the green room.
Right.
And when you're having too much fun back there, one of us will look at the rest of the lineup and go, oh, we're all bombing tonight. This is too good. It's always right around the corner to humble you as you do it longer and longer. Like I've been at it 11 years now. So I know, look, I have a little mantra in my head because some of those drives home can be brutal. You're
rough.
2, 3, 4 hours after just eating it for strangers for an iced tea gift card was your payment. And
Right.
That's expired.
Whatever. But I have a little mantra in my head now that goes, you've been funny for a long time. You've been doing this for a long time. The thing that I always say is you've been funny in languages you don't speak. You're okay. You'll be okay. You'll be okay.
My biggest question always is, what's your next step after one of your jokes bombs? Like, do you go to your biggest hitter, or like what do you usually do?
It depends. So sometimes you kind of feel the room. Sometimes if you address it with the crowd, it'll get a big laugh.
Because when you're self-deprecating on yourself, saying, "Well, that didn't work at all,"
you acknowledge it.
Get in and get in on it. Yeah.
You go, okay, or
they also think, "Oh, that was planned to be unfunny." Okay, that makes sense.
That's right.
Like,
Or there's a beat of silence, and you just look at the room and you go, "No." Okay, all right, moving on.
Yeah.
And they'll laugh at that. They'll give you 1 or 2 of those.
Right.
Sometimes if it's like Tembler is so the Well, the old Well location was perfect for that because you could fit nearly 200 people in there, but it was intimate, low ceilings, it was like perfect
Crotch
box.
level. I
Perfect
remember
box for comedy. So
when you're sitting in the front, you're just staring right at
I'm at your table
crotch.
and I'm aggressive too. So if you bought a VIP ticket, you're looking at my lap a lot. I apologize to the listeners for that too. Or you're welcome. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever.
either way you want to look at it.
Yeah. But if you're in a room like Tembler where it's 70-foot ceilings and goes you could fit 350 people in there and a joke doesn't work there, sometimes you've just got to plow through right on to the next thing, almost like the joke that bombed was a setup, because if you give them too much space to breathe, you may just lose them and it sounds like a cavern.
Well, see, that's what Anthony was saying, because I know they're doing some shows temporarily at different venues, and he was saying that how the stage is, it's like the opposite of the Well, where you can't see the crowd.
Yeah.
So you're like, so if a lot of comedians that are doing, a lot of things with the crowd, he's like, you can't see them. So it kind of takes away where you're like, Okay, is
What
anybody
now?
here? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
quiet. It's crickets.
I've had a buddy on a show one time who I didn't know was specifically a crowd work comedian, and he got up in a room that I was putting on a show where you couldn't see the crowd, and I watched it wash over his face. I watched on the spotlight, and there's this thing, especially with new comics, where there's a portion of a thing in their throat where you can hear the gulp.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, okay. All righty.
That would be tough, man.
Yeah.
So what do you want to start out with? You want to do basketball, wrestling?
Well, we might as well talk basketball since we previewed our games.
And I know
everything,
Burdick's going to come at me for my old man tendencies here, so
Look,
let's
man,
do it.
Let's do it.
Your old man tendencies have obviously been the winner in the last couple games, so I can't complain. I mean, the three-pointer has absolutely abandoned the Celtics, the Cavaliers, and the Timberwolves all. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on all these upsets happening?
It feels like it's Clash of Titans, 3-point shooting teams versus foul baiting teams. And that's like worlds collide with the Celtics right now. And so far, the foul baiting is winning, but I'm curious to see. I'm sure they'll catch on as the series go on. But what I don't understand is why the sabermetrics part of basketball hasn't gone to when you have a 20-point lead. I understand mathematically a 3-point shot is more efficient than a 2-point shot.
Right.
But it's a highly higher percentage shot for the 2-point shot. When you're ahead 20 points, just slash to the. You've got Jaylen Brown, you've got Jason Tatum, you've got two of the best slashers in the league. And I looked at game 2; they shot 10 for 40 from 3-point.
Yep.
They're 25 for 100 in the series.
But where basketball
in
is
games.
In two games,
where
100
basketball is now.
three-pointers.
So they shot 36% total from the game, and they should have won. So it was
Yeah.
a one-possession game, but if you watched it, they missed 2 out of every 3 shots they took. Enjoy the game.
Yeah.
It's like,
There was like 10 minutes in the fourth quarter they didn't score.
yeah,
And
it's
I'm like,
exciting and
what
it
are
looks
we
good on
watching?
paper, but it's painful.
Yeah. And I'm anti-Boston for anything. So I was rooting on the Knicks, which as a Bulls fan is tough to say, but it was nice at the end. And when I got home, I was like, okay, it's in the third quarter. They were down by 20. I was like, just cut it down to single digits. It's a game. And sure enough, and I don't know if it's the Knicks defense or, I mean, they can't come in and go down 20 and think, okay, well, we can do this. We've done it.
Right.
I mean, that's not a game plan. But
It
I'm
might
also,
be now. They've done it twice.
Right.
You don't let
Now
a
they're
team
sitting
go
there
up by
thinking we can
20.
do whenever they want.
Well, and I think if this keeps up, I think the league is going to have a problem in 2 or 3 or 4 years that we won't realize now, because at least in my old man opinion, what I'm watching is not good. It's not 48 minutes of good basketball.
No.
It's about 30 minutes of one team taking turns making a lot of shots and the other team playing terrible basketball. You know, it was a 2-point game, but it wasn't one 2-point game. It was 2 20-point blowouts that you watched.
Right.
That's tough for me to wrap my head around.
And as a fan, it's not entertaining until the last 5 minutes of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, even with game 1, if it wasn't into overtime, it was a snore fest. And as a Celtics, I mean, a championship type team, I mean, how do you look at a coach like that and be like, what is your game plan, dude?
Right.
Like, I'm watching these players when you're up by 20 and you're rushing down to shoot a ridiculous 3-pointer instead of playing offense and taking a high successful shot. It's just difficult to watch.
You know what it is? It's much like football. It's a copycat league across the board, and everybody's trying to mimic what the Warriors had a couple years ago. And I said this on the show the other day. When you have shooters like Steph and Clay, who are generational shooters, it makes it look easy and it makes it look like everybody can mimic that. And you can't. There's no way you can mimic that, no matter how good Jason and Jaylen are. They're not the shooters that Clay and Steph were. You could shoot 50 to 100 3-pointers all you want, but you're not going to hit it 40% like they did because you don't have that kind of firepower. So it's a flawed concept, in my opinion. It got them a championship last year, though, so I guess I can't say it's that flawed. Yeah. But when everybody is trying to jump on the same bandwagon, I kind of agree with you that it's just the one thing that it changes is now no lead is safe.
That's right.
No matter how much you have, or unless you're up by 30 to 40, it doesn't matter anymore.
Even last night, I was watching the Warriors Timberwolves game, and
just wondering when is it going to happen?
When's it going to happen? Even with Minnesota up 20 some in the fourth quarter. Jimmy Butler seems apprehensive to
Anthony
to
still
shoot.
looked like crap too. He didn't shoot well at all. Jimmy looked awful. Like the game itself was really
That was a
bad.
horrible
But you're
game.
right. Even still, I was like, well, 7 minutes left. This could get
Exactly.
interesting.
I mean, from the last 6-7 games we've seen, that's exactly what we've been getting used to. So I don't know. I agree with you in the sense that it's bad for teams because not everybody can shoot this way.
And it's bad for fans. I mean, it's not entertaining. It's not the playoff ball that we're.
Well, unless you're a fan of the team that's doing the comeback, obviously.
Sure.
Well, none of us are. So.
No.
I mean, even we'll go right into your Cavs. I mean, they're down 2. They'll be in Indianapolis.
I told
tonight.
you yesterday. I'm worried.
Well,
I'm desperately worried.
So, do you think if the 3 guys, which are reportedly on the right track of coming back tonight, is this going to be a better Cavs team, or is it going to be that
Garland
rust?
back,
Or
yes, if you get Darius Garland back, they should run them out of the gym because Darius is usually the one that dictates the pace, and he does a very good job at fluctuating it. And what I mean by that is you'll see Cleveland go on a 20-point spread or 20-point streak, and then they'll slow the game down and waste about 5 minutes while still making baskets. That's what I think a lot of these teams are really missing these days in basketball is time management.
Yes.
If you really think about it, and I know I pointed this out the other day, especially when it came down to the first comeback, which I believe was the Timberwolves or something like that. There was a 7-point. No, I'm sorry. It was Cleveland. It was Cleveland with the Pacers. 7-point lead with a $110.
Yeah.
Your possessions are 24 seconds apiece. That should at least be 3 possessions that Cleveland could have easily wasted the clock and ended the game.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't go that way in basketball anymore.
Yeah, and poor time management for both the game and per possession. Like I'm watching games where I'm watching on the opposite side. They're not oftentimes not getting into their offense until you're 11 to 10 seconds into the
they're rushing.
Shot yeah.
They're rushing 3 or 4 seconds, and you see some stupid shot that they'll probably shoot anyway because I don't see the old school. Maybe I'm the old man now because I'm used to the old, triangle and running plays, and I don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the Knicks, I'm rooting for the Knicks, but it's difficult as a coach mind. I'm looking at Brunson. I'm like, there's 4 other guys on your team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you are the clutch player of the year,
right?
But I mean, it almost feels like he's forcing it. I'm like,
the game has really moved to a one-on-one and positionless situation because that's why you see big guys like Joker able to walk up the ball so much. That's kind of just what they want now.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I kind of get it because if you have your center walking up the ball and their center's guarding you, that takes away their best defender underneath. So obviously, it should make it easier on your offense theoretically.
Yeah.
But,
bringing up Joker, OKC at Denver is the second game today, and after that spanking of OKC, I mean,
7 points in one half.
They're back in Denver.
But to be fair, Oklahoma City in game 2 did get their star player back in Scott Foster.
Yes.
So, so I think it'll be much closer for game 3. I can't believe he's not reffing Pacers Cavs game 3. That's the guy that you need to get this thing to the 7 games it's supposed to go to. Put the extender.
I would love him on the team as long as he's making calls for my team. I don't really care. But at this point, I mean, that's another thing you could talk about too. The lack of calls have really been a concern for a couple coaches because you're obviously having guys get hurt so often.
Yeah, well, that is the strange thing about the NBA. So it's the opposite. I always say this about the Super Bowl in my old man complaints is the NFL is the only league that their championship game is almost entirely different than the rest of the games they play through the season.
Yeah,
it's 30% longer. It's neutral site. It's like why would you do who's the best the whole way and then have a circus to determine who the winner is? And the playoffs is a very similar thing. For the NBA is you play 82 games with a very specific rule set and style and pacing and cadence. And then you go, we're going to go back to 2005 now.
Yeah.
So
throughout all those rules, we're going to play a regular basketball now.
Go back to elbow and hand check-ins kind of okay for all but about 6 of you in the league.
But don't dance. But don't dance or we'll warn you.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I mean, you're going to tell Tyrese Halliburton or at least warn him. They didn't fine him. But Tyrese did a dance after he made the game winner that apparently the league was not happy about. But I don't. Do you think it's kind of ridiculous that you're pretty much gonna tell Tyrese Halliburton, "Don't you dance," but you're gonna allow guys like John Morant to walk around pretending they're playing GTA?
Oh,
the
that's
court?
a good point. Yeah, he's throwing grenades.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, come on.
Hallie was just carrying a couple.
Exactly. I'm just, come on, dude. Like,
let him dance. He just won a game.
Exactly. He just won a game winner. Let him celebrate for a second. I'm a Cavs fan. I'm okay with it.
Right. He apparently had a lot to carry around for 48 minutes. You got to just
let the security guy pull out his belt and spank him for it.
I know. I'm like, God, it's kind of ridiculous to me because I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but this is why baseball gets a lot of grief, because you kill the fun of it.
Yeah.
You're killing the fun of the game. When I hear someone say, "Oh, act like you've been there before," you clearly have never played basketball or a sport, or never been in this situation. I have. Yeah. I've been in those situations. The first thing you want to do is jump up and down and act like an idiot.
Yeah.
Because it's so exciting.
That's right.
Or dance,
and
or do
it rarely
something.
happens. As a Dolphin fan, I think the highest I've ever jumped wasn't even a Dolphins fan. It was when Tyree had that catch on his helmet and they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I think I was the highest. I could have dunked that day.
That's right.
And honestly, if you reach a point in your career and you're an athlete where you just get bored and don't want to celebrate after something big like that, I feel bad for you. The game is clearly not the same for you anymore.
That's what they need. They need the perspective. If you could just Neuralink take a vacation and feel what it's like into the body of a professional athlete, and just walk around with that for a day. Like I have no idea what it's like to be a high-level athlete, but I know what it's like to dunk a basketball. And when I finally dunked a basketball, I ruined my back.
Yeah,
I ruined my back.
You never realize how hard the rim is until you actually hit it with
for the
your hand.
remainder of my life. I broke a fingernail that would never heal because for the next 3 months I just blew out my body.
All I did was
by
dunking.
the way, when I say dunk, I mean finger roll and grab the rim. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
By that. But it counts.
White boy dunking. That's what we're calling this.
It counts in most school parks.
I want to hear your comments with the last series with the T-Wolves and Golden State. Do you think Golden State extends this and hope that Curry comes back by game 6, or are they done?
I don't know. Playoff Jimmy is my guy. Like, he's
too.
my guy. But I can't say that I've seen him like this in maybe. It seems to me like he is apprehensive about matching up with Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. And this is a unique, we were talking about it last time I was here with Timberwolves Lakers. It's the hardest series for the Lakers to get out of. Mm-hmm. The Wolves, it's a unique position where my heart says the Warriors because of the star power and the skill. But when you look at the Wolves, in my opinion, I think at every position they are longer and more physical.
Oh, yeah.
At every position, and tremendously skilled as well, which is just going to be really hard to. And when you're Jimmy Butler, his matchups, who he has to try to score against, is, like I said, Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards primarily. Mm. That's a tough one to get through, and it just seems like the backup dancers cannot get their own shot.
No, and then Draymond starting crap and getting his 5th or 6th tech of the playoffs.
I don't care what that man says. He could sit there and say that the league is victimizing him all he wants,
making him the angry black man was his word.
He's the modern day Dennis. He really is. No. He's the modern day Dennis Rodman.
No, Rodman was more talented, and
that's not what I mean. I'm not saying in play. I'm saying in attitude.
Yeah.
He's the exact same thing. He's a baby when he wants to be.
I don't remember seeing Rodman as a baby. I just remember Rodman being 100% in the game all the time, and people didn't like it. That was the babies. It was what I remember is watching. Is Rodman was deep in the game.
No, I meant baby in a sense of he.
Draymond, you could see his face.
Like, why are they coming
down?
Like,
why are they coming down?
You can see it if you're watching the game and Draymond gets a foul. He immediately puts that baby face on.
No, absolutely. Like, that's what I'm saying. In play, nowhere close are they the same. But in terms of being the victim and being a baby and saying, why are you always coming down on me?
Yeah.
Why am I always the bad guy?
Well,
why am I this? Why am I
know
that?
The inside of that story was there was some racial slurs thrown at him, and he was getting into it with a crowd, somebody in the crowd, and that's why the angry black man. It wasn't the league was targeting him.
Right.
It was that they're not having the backup players that are slurs at games, which we don't know what was said. And
that happens all the time.
Exactly.
All the time.
And then try being a wrestler. These guys are hearing at matches. I mean, geez Louise.
I'm torn with the Draymond thing. It is because on one side, I don't think I don't think the flagrant foul should be what it is right now. Like,
Yeah.
in my opinion, if you've got to go to the monitor and review a foul for 6 minutes, by definition, that's not flagrant. But we know what today's NBA is, and no one knows more than him what today's NBA is, and still finds himself in. It was like when Grayson Allen was in college,
right? And he was getting all the grief for that
for a year and a half. It's like, dude.
Well, he's still getting the grief because he's still seen as an ugly or as a dirty player in the league, and honestly, he doesn't play like one at all.
Not anymore. Yeah, but you put these clips together and you go, okay, in a vacuum, yeah, you kicked your leg out, but like 13 of these in a row.
Yeah, and flagrant. You say it right. Flagrant it's in the word. Yeah. It's flagrant. You shouldn't have to replay it. And I didn't know until last night the difference between a flagrant and after a whistle flagrant, or he would have been suspended.
Right.
So I was going in this morning thinking, oh, he's going to get suspended for the next game. But no, because 2 of those 6 flagrants were after the whistle, and those don't count for suspensions.
My only argument for having to go to the monitor and check it is that there are certain situations where guys are really good at making it look like they didn't mean to do that.
Yeah. John Stockton wouldn't have had a career if they had a monitor.
Exactly. And honestly,
or Malone.
Half his steals would have been taken away.
Oh, my goodness.
But no, like, okay, take the Jokic situation against the Thunder in game 1 when he elbowed Lou Dort in the back of the head because he fouled him at first. He did a dang good job of making it seem like, oh, I didn't realize how small you were. I'm sorry. My body is just so big that my elbow went back and hit you. If you didn't go to the monitor and look at it, you would never have noticed that he meant to do that.
Well, Joker is a great actor. He's the ogre.
And that's what I'm saying. There are a lot of players that are like that. And if you don't have the option to go to a monitor, you would never know for sure.
And if it wasn't for those flops, we wouldn't have to be replaying anything, because some of these, I mean, Brunson's got that one down. If he gets you off your feet in his fake shots and he just jumps into you. Okay, well, I guess that's the new foul, which they're
trying to get rid of that. They're trying to get rid of the whole baiting into a shot thing, because it is kind of ridiculous. Though. And unless you're not leaning into it.
Right.
If you just go up again, like right where you're standing, like the Tim Hardaway situation in the first series, that should have been called. That's okay. But if you're going to lean into it like Paul Pierce used to do all the time, like, no, that's ridiculous.
Well, and it'll be easier in 2 or 3 or 4 years if the face of your league isn't Anthony Edwards that doesn't do it. Right now, the face of the league flops, and so you can't. It's going to be hard to. It's going to be hard to crack down.
You can all thank Anderson Varejao for that. By the
way, you should take the flop rule with him.
And who's the guy on the Washington Wizards with the neck tattoos? 3-point spot up 3-point shooter that used to just clothesline LeBron for 2 or 3 years. I can't.
Oh my, that was.
That's the guy who did it.
Oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's not Larry Hughes, because Larry Hughes.
It's not Larry Hughes.
It was.
It's definitely not Larry Hughes.
No, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Stevenson.
Deshaun
Stevenson. Yeah.
Deshaun Stevenson.
Exactly who it is.
Deshaun Stevenson said Raja Bell here and just clothesline.
Those series back in the day between the Wizards and the Cavs, and it usually happened in series 1, 2 of the playoffs when LeBron was there, were ugly.
Yeah.
Especially when Antoine Jameson was on the team and Gilbert Arenas was at his peak. Like, oh my God.
Which, by the way, I need to watch that Netflix documentary of him and
is that point guards?
Yeah.
Or shooting guards?
Yeah, something like that.
It popped up on my Netflix. I was like, what is this?
I love docu-series like that, because you get the look behind all the stuff that they had to deal with, and all the the craziness that goes on with the stuff that we never really see.
He was the original John Morant. I don't
Absolutely.
know if you're not just with the thing. When he came out on the gun charges, and he came out in warm-ups, pistols firing on national TV.
Didn't even care.
No.
Well, dude, if you were looking for something funny, there's a show that I found called Stadium Lockup.
Okay.
And it's on Prime, and it's got the Cleveland Browns stadium and security.
You just ignited something in him
you'll
right
see
now.
all these crazy drunks in the dog pound in Cleveland, and how hard the security has to work on these places.
Who do you think has the worst, though, out of all of the NFL teams to deal with?
EAGS. L-E-S.
You think so?
Dude, Philly fans are nuts.
I believe it.
We've gotten better. We've gotten better over the years.
They threw batteries at Santa Claus.
I lost a friend out here when we won our 2018-19
Championship.
Uh-huh.
Was that the Nick Foles year?
because when they played Minnesota, I had a buddy. He was the brewmaster at Temple. I didn't really lose a friend, but he was a big Minnesota guy. And it was when some Minnesota people came out to the game, and just little 5'6" slimes in Philadelphia were just throwing beers at their heads. And all this. I said, he shouldn't have been standing there.
Right? You're in the wrong spot, brother.
I would never go to an opposing team stadium and fly we're respect-based organisms. And what I say about Philly fans is we are. The great thing about us is we talk to you like we're your best friend, like we've known you 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
The bad part is, as complete strangers, we talk to you like we've known you for 30 years.
I've been to Oakland when the Raiders were there and wore all Dolphin gear. Luckily, I was with a couple buddies that were Raider fans.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any issues as long as you know how to act and you're not a drunk idiot.
Well,
I mean, there was a
direct rival to the team.
Well, there was a drunk idiot talking, and I was like, "Well, he's gonna." And they ended up pushing over the porta potty while he was in there, and I was like, "Well, that's what you get, brother."
That's what I'm saying. I think the Raiders would probably be pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
The Bills, I would say.
I don't know.
I hate Bills fans.
Bills Mafia rolls deep with themselves.
They're
I don't know if
the
they
adult
fight
toys.
each other,
Underrated brutal fans are the 49ers. I see the fight videos.
I was going to say,
Niner fans don't allow anyone to talk during their games.
I've been to games where all California teams, and I would say out of the California at least, was the Niner fans.
Yeah.
Those were the worst.
So I went to one Eagles game ever, and we sat in the nosebleeds when I think it was right after the link was built, and they were playing the Washington football team when they were another team.
Mm-hmm.
The
Redskins.
Should have been the
Redskins. I don't. Okay,
They might be.
We're
They might be coming
radio.
back.
I don't know what I. Yeah.
They were talking about they might be coming back too.
That would be that.
Honestly,
would be
well, yeah, because now like everyone's kind of looked at this and see it from a different perspective. I mean, because at the time it was being seen as a racial slur.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's really seen that way anymore.
Agreed.
But I mean, that's just me.
So we were at the game, and there might have been 50 Redskins fans in the stadium. You knew where they were because a whole section of the stadium would stand up and just swarm these poor guys. It was unbelievable. You just see a section stand up and be like, what are they doing? We doing the wave? And it's like, oh no, they're throwing chili on someone who just wore a jacket.
And you know, and I like you am luckily not a fan of somebody who's a direct rival to the Niners, but I've been to plenty Niner games as a Falcons fan with the jersey on and stuff. They give you grief.
Yeah.
But like you said, as long as you just keep your mouth shut, you're not a drunk idiot. You usually don't get into fights, or at least where I was sitting. But as I said earlier, every live sporting event I've ever been to has had a fight somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Every single one.
We got 2 minutes. Backlash tomorrow night.
Man.
Anything you're expecting or any match you're looking forward to?
Is McAfee going to die?
I was going to say, McAfee Gunter, what did they do?
I have
Because
no idea why
they boxed in Gunter's character where he's lost clean to Cody. He got choked out by Jay. He's the ring general.
If he loses to Pat, it would be
what we're thinking
legendary.
is when we see Goldberg.
You think so?
I think we see him.
That is the rumor that we've been perpetuating, that this might lead to Goldberg's inevitable retirement match.
Maybe a little Michael Cole intervention. And my dark horse prediction is maybe Brock comes back.
I would love to see that, but he's been pretty avid about being retired.
Is he done?
Yeah, he's been pretty vocal about saying I'm kind of done.
They were poking him for WrestleMania, but then Twitter got a little wild on him.
And his daughter is crushing it in track and field right now too for Colorado State.
Yes,
I think that she is a stud.
NXT, if you're watching.
Oh, shoot, they got her signed to a contract right now. Are you nuts?
I'm sure.
Her, Jordan Grace, next year's WrestleMania. Let's do it.
I read Travis Scott is training with Booker T.
Oh, God. Booker, don't perpetuate this.
Come on.
Don't do it. Let's leave him where he is.
Yeah, teach him Stephanie Vaquer's move.
Right.
There you go. Give her a devil's kiss.
We'll wrap it up with the main event. Cena, Orton.
Great match. I think it's probably too soon for Cena to drop the strap for storyline purposes. But boy, Randy's got heat on him like I haven't seen in 15 years.
I would have liked
I
this
do
a
not
little
like
bit
him.
later down the line, though. Maybe at SummerSlam, where we would have maybe believed that Randy could actually pull this off of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, as a skinny guy who's getting older, I would hope to think that I could get beefcake and jacks when I'm 45 instead of fat and pudding like I'm doing right now.
Really
So I want
has
Randy.
changed his entire body.
Oh man, he's
construction.
incredible.
Like, after that neck surgery, he came back looking like a bodybuilder, and
That's all natural.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
They gave him a rhino's neck.
See, God dang it. No, my thought process is, though, at least you can move around still. Usually when you see these guys get bigger like that, they're like balloon animals. They can't move anymore.
I hate Orton. And what is that stupid thing he does?
His pose?
I
wish I could do it
He
right
stole
now. My neck
Batista's
would not
body.
allow me.
I cannot stand Orton.
He stole Batista's body. Batista's wearing cardigans and reading glasses, and Randy Orton's 28 years old somehow.
Oh, well, one of them stayed in wrestling. The other one decided to be an actor. So what do you expect?
Well, you any upcoming shows we should know about?
Nothing in town. I think we're going to do another one in June, probably in Templar, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. And as another way to weasel myself on this fine show.
Anytime, brother.
Fantastic.
Chris Flail Comedy. Check him out. Instagram. We appreciate your time. We'll talk to you here in a couple of weeks. Enjoy your weekend. And happy Mother's Day to all moms. My mom is texting me right now. I'm like, watch your mouth, Steven. But you guys enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you soon, Chris. Thank you. And we have Bolt Brady coming up right after this. Hopefully we can make you some side money for the weekend right here on the Early Bird Special, ESPN Bakersfield, 12:30 a.m.
101.1